You've tuned in to the Beardown Corner with your host, Sgt Cornholio. Hello, everyone, and we are live for another episode of the Beardown Corner with your host. I am Sgt Cornholio. We're going to get into your Week 15 lineup of football from recap to upcoming. We got around the league news and, of course, your fantasy update for the headed-in weekend matchups. Some leagues are playoffs, some teams aren't. It's going to be an exciting time, so let's dive into it. We got, to start us off today, a recap of Week 14. I don't know about y'all, but just to throw it right off the bat, Josh Allen probably had his best day of the season so far this year, where in a losing effort, they lost 44-42 to the Los Angeles Rams. And in doing so, he had 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns, literally showing he will take the team and put them on his back. But to follow up, we had the Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, 34-31 Detroit in the Thursday nighter last week. Following up the weekend worth, you had 49ers over Chicago, unfortunately, 38-13. Atlanta was down by Minnesota, 42-21. New Orleans with the block tying field goal at the end. My goodness, they came out to win 14-11. Jacksonville stunned the Tennessee Titans at 10-6. That one caught me off guard. Las Vegas Raiders lost 13 as they were outscored 28 points by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Pittsburgh and Cleveland, they had 27-14 over top of the Browns. Philly and Carolina, they took it 22-16 over the Panthers. New York Jets fell to the Miami Dolphins in overtime, 32-26. Seattle put a punch on Arizona, 30-18. That game was my God. There should have been better defense that game. But also, it's not like the offense was clicking either. So, take your losses, I guess, right? Buffalo, LA, we already got into them. Los Angeles Chargers. They took it to the Kansas City Chiefs again in prime time, with the game coming down to literally Matt Wright, who won Special Teams Player of the Week for his 4 for 4 on field goals and a PAT. They won 19-17 that game. The Kansas City is winning games like they're some high school football team. It's crazy. It's crazy. Monday Nighter, Cincinnati unraveled Jamar Chase once again for 171 yards, 2 touchdowns, and I think like 7 or 9 interceptions. So leading them to the victory of 27-20 in Dallas. That is your Week 14 recap. Moving into Week 15, some around the league news. All right. I like these. They're fun. They're fun to talk about. We have Bill Belichick, everyone, becoming the next head coach of the North Carolina University football team. This is interesting. He is on a 5-year deal, $10 million per season. Honestly, who cares about that? He talked about roles that his son will have in the program, and they went from a $6 to $20 million up for whatever the program needs. The university did. Like they're ready to make this push and commitment with Bill at the helm. So you know what? At 72, Bill, I wish you the best of luck. I hope it's a new grand venture. You're just having fun and taking care of yourself. Because honestly, you're on the wrong end of time in that context, but at the same time, when it comes to your football IQ, I don't think there's many other bettors out there. So good for you, Bill Belichick. I wish you the best at North Carolina University. Moving along. Rumor mill has it, Jeff Bezos and the Chicago Bears are rumored to be intertwining in relations. By that being, he is looking to buy the team. Possibly. This is what the rumor mill has to say anyway. So in that, they go on to explain how Bezos has interest in buying the team from the McCaskies in the context of they have the young quarterback, they're going to build around for the future. There's a new stadium up on grabs. But here's the interesting thing that gets me. Here's where it takes a turn. So with rumors coming out of San Francisco about Kyle Shanahan possibly being on the cutting block, and you know what? I've gathered some information from a couple other sources and even just your general fan thoughts, some of them anyway. And you know what? It could be a possibility. This could be a possibility. Kyle Shanahan, you got to think of it. In his, 6 years now or whatever it's been in San Fran, he's made the conference championship 4 times. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. They should have won one by now, but they haven't. So does that look to a turmoil of a divorce between him and the 49ers organization? I don't necessarily think so, but maybe a change of scenery would be good for him. Maybe he would like to come to the Chicago Bears and be the head coach, where Jeff Bezos is very interested in Kyle Shanahan being the head coach. So there's a lot of factors there. Could it play out? Possibly. Possibly. Will it? I feel if the Niners can push in, make playoffs, and still lose, like in let's say the conference championship, yeah, he's done. Because now you're getting into the realm of Marty Schottenheimer of the San Diego Chargers during his tenure there, when they fired him after a 14-2 MVP season by LaDainian Tomlinson. They were knocked out in the divisional round. And the rest is history for that. The Chargers never won a Super Bowl. Those teams, Tomlinson ended up without a Super Bowl, which is a shame. But you know what? For 131 rushing touchdowns and whatever other combination of touchdowns, he was a great player. But they just never got over that hump. So we'll see what evolves. We'll see what happens with the McCaskies and Bezos, and what happens in San Francisco could be directly tied to that. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Yeah. Moving in, you got Brown and Hurts. So in Philly, where they will take on the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend in a Battle of Philadelphia, you have A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, who I guess it was taken out of context. Let's put it that way. In a recent interview, Brown was complaining about the offense. Now, in complaining about the offense, he triggered whatever warning from the rest of the locker room, his coaches, something about, there's now this rumor that you and your quarterback are at ease with each other, right? At throat. No, that's not the case. He's more upset, I guess, and this is my view on it. He's not getting the goddamn ball in your offense. The ball's going to Saquon Barkley because you're rushing it probably half the time you're passing it, which Saquon Barkley's an MVP conversation, Brown. If your team is going to be led by him and you just have to play a part and you go to win a Super Bowl, who gives a shit? But right now, he's all, I'm not getting my touches. Cry me a river. I got you on 2 fantasy teams and I don't really give a shit. Barkley is the offense this year. Hurts, Brown, Smith, you all are going to get on the page come playoffs. Don't worry. Your time to eat will come. Right now, give the goddamn ball to Barkley and let's just move on. My goodness. Diva wide receivers in the 2020s, I tell you. Woo! Aaron Rodgers. Jets might be cursed, now he says in the most recent interview with the New York Press. So, like, they're always asking him questions, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? I don't want to dive too deep into it because honestly, the Jets are that's a never-ending saga. They're like the days of our lives of the NFL. That is the best way to put them. But you know what? When you are even admitting to the possibility that there might be a curse, but then he goes on to say, yeah, but we got to be the ones to break that curse. Well, of course you got to be the ones. But are the Jets cursed? I don't know. I think it's honestly more of a players issue, not one, but a few of them, and it's just dysfunction there. It's just dysfunction. There's always something. I'm pretty sure I've talked about the Jets every single week in some context of that. I don't know. It's silly. It's silly. Patrick Mahomes not feeling good after being asked, how does it feel to be playing 3 games in 11 days? Not very good, he says. Well, you know what? When you and 6 other teams are picked to do the Christmas Day specials and all that, you know what? You're being advertised by the NFL that you are the face of the NFL. And with that comes the responsibility of being the face of the NFL. So it means if you have to play 3 games in 11 days, like a bunch of sports players do for their games, not trying to compare football to hockey or basketball to football or any of that stuff. No, not at all. What I'm getting at, though, is sometimes you got to play those extra games. You're being paid God knows $50+ million a fucking season. That's just your NFL salary. That ain't even endorsements, man. Suck it up, Buttercup. Move on. I'm not even going to get deep into it. It's just suck it up, Buttercup. Move on. Go show the world what you're capable of. Show them what you are paid for, what you are praised for. And go entertain the masses. You are the gladiators of the football arena. Show it. Quit crying about it. Damn, man. Quarterback, Giants. DeVito to start. Tommy DeVito, quarterback of the New York Giants. Let's put it proper context. My bad. Sorry. Will start this Sunday against the Ravens for the Giants after Drew Lock last week and DeVito couldn't go. So, yeah, Tyrone Tracy fans, I hope you... He had a game last week. They pushed it last week. But again, the Saints have a competitive team. But man, they've been riddled by injuries this year. Like, shout out to my homeboys in New Orleans and Jake and Jeremy and Dusty and fucking Lando. But man, your guys' team, they're taking their ass whoopings. They're taking it good. And they're just moving along. But injuries have plagued you guys all season. I'm pretty sure your quarterback is out now, Derek Carr. So you're already missing, I think, like 3 of your top 4 receivers. Like Alvin Kamara is the only consistent that's still there on offense in New Orleans. So anyone who has players from that team, good luck, because I'm pretty sure either Rattler or someone else, I don't even know who is going to get the start if Carr can't go. So good luck down there, boys. Good luck. Here's a little tidbit. So the Buffalo Bills had 10 minority owners recently approved. Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady, former NBA players, all-stars, so forth, they are now minority owners of the Buffalo Bills. I kind of find it interesting because Vince Carter used to be a Toronto Raptor, so he would have known Buffalo area very well in comparison, since they're not that far apart. So congratulations to you guys. Yeah. Oh, we have Sam Darnold grabbing NFC Player of the Week. 5 touchdowns, 347 for yards, 78% completion. The man was on fire, unfortunately, against my home man, Iceman Super Suit of Kick, taking down his Atlanta Falcons 42-21. You know what, though? Here's how I look at it. You have an offense, and you have Jordan Addison, who is hot and cold, however it needs to be, but he's still a good number 2, okay? Justin Jefferson, solid as shit. I don't even know the rest of the receivers, but they're all doing well. You got the running game going on par with Aaron Jones. The offensive line is protecting the shit out of Sam Darnold. And you have the OC coming out literally earlier this week saying he's going to be sought after in free agency. Excuse me? If Sam Darnold leads you guys to the NFC Championship game, you sign his ass. All right? Because if he wins you 2 playoff games in a year where your first-round quarterback goes down, you have no idea who's going to play QB, are we going to have another 2000 Baltimore Ravens or 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers where they ended up with a quarterback leading them as far as they did and not trying to see what can happen the next year? Yeah, the Ravens did that with Joe Flacco in his rookie contract year when they won the Super Bowl and took the chance and ended up paying for it. But you know what? Joe Flacco is a way better quarterback than Trent Dilfer or goddamn Trent Dilfer And 2002. Did Trent Dilfer win 2 Super Bowls? No. No, he won it with the 2000 Ravens. Who the hell was the quarterback in Tampa Bay the year they won now? 2002. I'm drawing a blank. It's not Rich Gannon. That's who they faced. That was the Raiders quarterback. Well, either way, you seen what happened with both those teams as examples. So, not saying the Minnesota Vikings are winning the Super Bowl. Pull your pants up, take your head out of your ass, and just sign your guy. I don't care if you got J.J. McCarthy as your fucking number 1 pick from last year in the first round. You picked him near the end, and plus from the way it sounds in the reports, you had goddamn Sean Payton from the Broncos baited you in, getting you to draft him so they could take Knicks. The kid's already had a major freaking reconstructive on his leg. Like, I wish him the best. I hope he can do something, but you're talking about letting Sam Darnold walk to free agency? I don't know. I'm a Bears fan. I'm really impartial, but from an NFL aspect, you can't do that, man. You just can't. I don't know. Anyway, Sam Darnold, NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Yetur Gross-Mates of the San Francisco 49ers. 4 tackles, 3 sacks for the Defensive Player of the Week. Special teams in the NFC was scored by Brian Brees, defensive tackle, on the block game-time field goal in their game against the New York Giants, which was 14-11. AFC, Jamar Chase just burning it up, not much there. He was 14 of 191 and 2 touchdowns. My stats were off earlier, by the way. My bad. We move into Zach Zeeler of the Miami Dolphins. 4 tackles, 2 sacks. Nice game for him, right? They won. And Matt Wright, Special Teams Player of the Week in the AFC. That 4-for-4 game-winning field goal and a PAT. Good work, my man. Not bad for a kicker who's replacing Bucker because he injured himself, eh? Yeah. So if you need a kicker and he's still available, go snag his ass. Moving along, last little tidbit. Nike and NFL sign a new 10-year deal. Details to follow in whatever context. Honestly, it's just another endorsement signing, so have fun with that one. Your Week 15 matchups start with the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers in tonight's Thursday night matchup. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be hot as hell. Kyron Williams and the rest of that team, they coming off a win against Buffalo at home, and they want to feed off that momentum. They want that playoff spot. They want to sneak in. And this is their shot. They you know what? Eliminate San Fran and continue your push. What better way in a divisional matchup? It's going to be a shit show. Tune in on Amazon Prime or wherever your local televisions let you watch it and enjoy the game. Because that is the best thing I can say. Monday morning matchups along with through the afternoon. You got Dallas at Carolina, Kansas City in Cleveland, Miami at Houston, Cincinnati in Tennessee, Washington in New Orleans. We have Houston at New York Jets, Baltimore and New York Giants, Pittsburgh and Philly, and Indy and Denver. Tampa Bay and LA Chargers wrap it up in the afternoon with the New England Patriots at the Arizona Cardinals. That is the morning and afternoon game. Sunday nighter, Green Bay and Seattle. Man, I remember when it was that god for awful catch when it was Rodgers versus Russell Wilson. Monday nighter. And it was caught in the back. And I'm pretty sure it was deemed a catch. In like a Hail Mary type situation that I'm pretty sure won Seattle the game that game. There's controversy around that thing. But, yeah, it's going to be a good game. Jordan Love's got them Packers, unfortunately, rolling in their own extent. You know, they're losing tough games, but they're winning games too. So it's up to Green Bay to continue their push, man. But Seattle wants that division title. Seattle wants that playoff spot. They're pushing two people. Zach Charbonnet, if he's still available, pick him up in your fantasy leagues. Geno Smith could lead you to a title. Like, they're picking up hot at the right time. Monday nighter. Bears and Vikings. I don't really know how to feel about this one. Our offense is there. We have the pieces. Defensively, we have the pieces. Our coach was a dink. Just miscommunication all around, man. I don't know where to go from here at this point for the season. Honestly, finish strong. I hope they play a good, tight game. Maybe we upset the Vikings and help out the other teams, but you know what? I just hope for a good game. That's all we can hope for. And the other Monday nighter, Atlanta Falcons in Las Vegas, Raiders. That should be an interesting one. Antonio Pierce came out and said the one running back, I gotta check how his name is because I don't want to mispronounce this. I picked him up on my fantasy this week. Sincere McCormick should be getting the start this week at running back for the Las Vegas Raiders. So if you are stuck at running back and you missed out on Guardo last week and you missed out on the backup this week, do him, because leading into the Thursday nighter, he is said to be playing, by the way, with his ankle. So in that, I feel he should have an all right game tonight if he is able to stay strong on that ankle. If not, the backup's coming in. So it's question mark. But for McCormick, the Raiders are not a team to be slept on. And here's why. I've watched them enough this year because I had Alexander Madison as running back for a while. I have Jacoby Myers on a bunch of teams. I have Brock Bowers. Like, the Raiders are not to be slept on. Unfortunately, no, they don't have a superstar or a mid-tier level quarterback. They're riding on what is it, Aaron or Adrian O'Connell, I think, and Gardner Minshew. I like both them quarterbacks, but they play not tougher teams, but the teams know how to read them. Now, up to that player to get better, or what's your next step in quarterback position, Raiders? That's something you and Antonio Pierce have to find out, as long as you don't fire his ass after 1 year. I hope they don't. I hope he gets one more year, because then you take his interim year, you take this year, and you take next year. There's about a 3-year span. He's had his time. Move on. If you want to do that. I like Antonio Pierce. I think he can corral his guys to rally around and fight, because that's all it seems they're doing. Every damn week they're in the game, but they lose the game. So they're not far off. Just ride with it a little. Ride with it a little and see what it takes you. Atlanta, I don't know. You know what? Cousins does his shit like he's been. I think we throw Penix Jr. in near the end of the season and see what he gives you. Like, you guys are still pushing and fighting for that division title, so it's a hard decision to make. I wouldn't want to be the one to have to make that with, 5 games? No, not even that. Less games than that now remaining. Not 5 games. We're in week 15. We go to week 18. We have 3 weeks left in the regular season, people. 4 weeks, technically. 15, 16, 17, 18. We have 4 weeks left. A month worth left of football. And we're pushing for playoffs. New Orleans is more or less out of it. Tampa Bay's your only struggle competition in that division. Lock it down. You guys can do it. I don't know why you can't. Cousins isn't a bad quarterback, but he also isn't the savior of that team. Your first-round pick will be the savior of that team, but I don't know. I like how it was the whole, we signed the quarterback, we draft the quarterback, we let him sit and cook, and we let him play. But if you're in a playoff position to win division and your quarterback's playing like shit, you're going to see what else you got. So I wish them the best of luck down there in Atlanta. Wish everyone else the best of luck for all their endeavors this week. Week 15 coming in the books. Going to be an exciting one. Little roundup fantasy-wise. We'll just kind of do a little run off a couple of my teams, and if you got them, great. If not, well, wish you the best. But like, you know, I picked up Tank Bigsby this week because I like him at depth for running back moving forward. His schedule is very favorable in the context that, you know, they play the Raiders and Tennessee Titans and the New York Jets this week, but we all know New York's a shit show, so that defense thing doesn't mean shit. Tank Bigsby could be that winning key you need for your fantasy lineup, depending what kind of league you're playing in, right? Like if it's a straight yards and touchdowns, he's your man. If it's points per reception, little less because he's a little less involved in the passing game, but he's getting more, right? He's getting more. We already talked about McCormick in Las Vegas. You know, Juan Jennings, I'm sure he's picked up everywhere by now, but, you know, he's only in 86% of leagues, so there's a 14% chance out there that you could still get him. The man put up 28 points last week, 2 touchdowns, and over, 131 yards or something like that against the Bears. Like, we let him walk all over us. It was kind of good and bad at the same time. I watched my team get demised, but I picked him up for my week 14 where I had like 3 or 4 wide receivers on by, and he put up 28 for me. So I like that one. Here's another one for you. 48% of the leagues he's owned, 30% he's being started. Adam Thielen. Go get the old vet. Go get old balls. The man plays Dallas, Arizona, and Tampa to finish his season. And if you're in one of those weird leagues that goes to week 18, he takes on Atlanta. Not saying that, you know, he's going to light it the shit up, but Bryce Young is getting better. He's his main target since they traded friggin' Deontay Johnson, which he's been sucking shit and is suspended for this week. He'll be back next week in probably a very limited role after he blew up shit for no reason and refused to play. But you know what? Adam Thielen, go get him. He's a quality starting wide receiver. The man dropped friggin', what was it? Let's get his exact stats. We owe him that much. 11 targets. He caught 9 of them for 102 yards last week. In Philly, where Philly's defense should have had him, but Carolina's getting better, folks. So why not have the old vet be the one to lead you there, right? I don't know. My opinion, my thought. He's on my team. I like him. I like having that depth. Yeah. Like, there is... Oh, there's another guy that's interesting. He's still not fully owned, but an 84% rostered. Tyrone Tracy. Again, a running back that has no quarterback, has receivers but no quarterback, and is still running his ass off, catching everything he gets taught. He had 9 targets last week. How do you go against a guy that gets that many targets, and if he catches those dinky little dunk and go passes, and he's not being led into a lion's den where he's going to get hit by 3 guys on his curl route, he's gonna get you points. PPR is going to give you multiple points for that. So there's another guy, right? Like he's owned by a good percentage, but he should be owned 99% though. If you have a league that everyone's playing and you have no guys left. So, you know, there's a few sleeper picks. There's a few guys you can go out and grab and whatever, you know. Roma Dunze, I don't know where he's at for roster, but I know he had a good week last week. We're playing Minnesota. They led a shit ton against everyone else the last time we played them. So, you know, maybe you need him for a week 15 sleeper, right? You do a little digging, you'll find your man. So, I think that with everything being said is about wrap-up time for us here at the Beardown Corner as we prepare for a day's worth of fun and get ready for Thursday Night Football like the rest of you. So, for myself here at the Dick Hank Production Studios and the Beardown Corner, I am Sgt Cornholio. You all take care of yourself. Have a wonderful weekend, and a great time watching football.